find a way out of Paris now.
This was supposed to be a quick little weekend heist.
How you both doing today?
Good. How are you?
I'm doing so well. Really excited to chat with you both. Hopped on the bandwagon for this show a little late, but I'm so glad I'm on it now because it is such a fun ride, and I love both of your characters. Gina, I'd like to start with you first because this picks up some time after the season 2 finale, in which we've learned about Sophie's stepdaughter, and Sophie's really trying to find a new way of life, so to speak, while still working in this world. What can you share about how that relationship is going to evolve going into this season?
I think a bunch of characters this season are kind of looking at like how adapting and changing their like professional life with their personal life. And I think Sophie, like we've got this wonderful like opening episode where she's trying to like decide what gift to get her stepdaughter Astrid, and everyone keeps saying you can't give her stolen things, she's an Interpol agent. So I think like she's trying to like, how does she have an authentic relationship with Astrid? And that's also true, she's dipping her toe in the dating pool as well.
How do you have any relationship?
Well, I have an authentic relationship with you guys.
Well, absolutely, yeah. But I'm just saying that's the journey of Sophie.
How can she have any authentic relationship outside of this crew? And so that's what she's kind of like focused on this season. So that was my main arc. So thank you for asking.
Well, going off of that, Christian, I did want to ask you as well, because I loved the relationship you had with the U.S. Marshal in the past, or in season 1. I felt like it really did a lot of good to build a foundation for Elliot to let his guard down and be vulnerable with the team and with anybody else he comes across. What do you think there's a future for him to sort of, again, where we talk about sort of authenticity of relationships, do you think there is a chance for him to find that again in the future?
Absolutely not. Well, we all saw how that went. I think so. I think he's got to find, I think it's going to be a tough thing because.
Do you remember we shot, sorry to interrupt, but do you remember we shot this one episode this season, and I'd say to you, where did you meet your last girlfriend? And you say, in the ER. And then I go, where did you meet the girlfriend before that? And you go, in the ER.
ER.
Yeah.
I think it's going to be like somebody like the U.S. Marshal. I'm so glad you brought that up. That's going to have to ground it, but that's true. I mean, it's like, I don't know if that's in the cards for Elliot. And I think that it would be an unbelievable thing for the writers to be able to try to find that. There has been talks about stuff like that for years and years. And I always say, well, it's never going to happen. But then again, we also talked about my dad, you know what I mean? And then my dad came back in last season. So I don't put anything past them. It's just really, it's not, we're all broken toys. We're all broken toys. It just seems to be that Sophie is, she's healing faster than everybody else. I got to be honest with you. And you see a lot of that this season. It's really fun to watch Gina play that.
I love when we got to meet your dad, by the way, as both a big Keith David fan, but also a fan, again, of seeing Elliot open himself up. That final scene was such a beautiful one. And I'll come back to that in a minute, because, Gina, I did want to...
I'd love to talk about Keith David, exactly. Yeah, go ahead.
Well, Gina, I did want to ask, since you mentioned Sophie putting herself back out there, I mean, we still hear her mention Nate's legacy. There's the case, let's just say, involving frozen things this season that sort of brings all that back to the surface for her. How much do you think she is really going to allow herself to put herself back out there versus still holding on to that love that she has for him?
I want to know that.
Yeah, I mean, it's an interesting question. I feel like everyone kind of deserves happiness, right? And I think the problem is that you have to give yourself permission for it. And I think this season she is giving herself permission, not necessarily for happiness or for finding her like soulmate, but she's giving herself permission to have fun. And I think that's the first step towards giving yourself permission to be happy in the future. So I wouldn't be surprised if we please, get more opportunities to make more Leverage Redemption if there is something serious coming in her near future. But right now she's enjoying having fun in this season, and it was great to allow her to do that. Yeah.
Well, as you say, when she allows herself to have fun, that's when things like Nate and her relationship came about in the original. So I hope they get to happen. And Christian, I'm sorry, I didn't mean to cut you off there.
Oh, no, that was a great point. I was actually just getting ready to make that point. That's really, yeah.
Well, I wanted to come back to you though to talk more about your relationship with your father because I mean, there's a mention in season one or in the premiere of this season in which Elliot is trying to stay clean to a point in order to live up to what he promised his father. What can you share about how that relationship might continue to evolve this season, but also how that's affecting Elliot's mindset going into more jobs?
I think it's affected Elliot a lot. I think he's you don't see Elliot go through as many roller coaster emotions that he usually does with the whole anger and everything else that he usually does, I guess. I mean, I still punch a lot of people and a lot of fans down, but it's done some stabilizing, I think, to be honest with you. And the fact that, everybody sees that, I kind of was talking to Gina earlier. I said, it's funny because our characters actually, we're watching, we watch everybody on the show, regardless if a guest star, some of them are series regulars run into brick walls. And we give them our 2 cents. And that's exactly what it's worth. You know what I mean? Like we say, I don't know if I'd do this, but you've got to go do it. And I think Elliot is kind of like in that now because usually Elliot was the one running straight into the brick wall. And I think he's kind of stepped back a little bit. And I think the relationship with his father has helped him in a certain sense. We'll see how that goes. Yeah. But I mean, with Keith David, I mean, I saw Keith David in an award show and I walked up to Keith and I said, I'm a huge fan. He turned around, he said, I'm a huge fan. And he loved Leverage. And I had no idea. And I said, I've got something for you. I can't tell you what it is. If you ever could come in on Leverage and play it, would you do it? And he said, absolutely, man. And I called him and he did. And it was just amazing, man. I really wanted him to play my dad. So it was both an honor and acting school for me. So it was great.
I think to your point, though, about the characters changing, I think one of the mistakes, I think, in long-running shows is that you allow the characters to change too much. But our characters, they evolve, I think, rather than change, and that it allows us to have like new people come to the show every season because they're not really departing from any of the things that the qualities that everyone fell in love with them for.
I like that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I think that they're quite true, like Beth's character Parker. She's very true to who she started out as, and I think every season she's gathering more and more fans because there's a lovely continuum and cohesion to like what the writers allow us to how they allow us to evolve. Yeah.
I agree. They're giving you all great new layers to play with while still keeping everything grounded. Because I still love getting to hear the occasional "damn it, Hardison" mixed in with the emotional beats and everything. So I agree. I think they're giving you great evolution throughout this show. I see I'm coming close to time. So before I let you both go, Christian, I did want to ask really quickly. We also got the first look at Librarians: The Next Chapter recently, and we know that Jacob's supposed to be coming back. Can you share a little bit about how he's going to impact the new show coming into it?
I did 4 seasons of that show. It was so much fun. And Noah Wiley was there, and then Noah Wiley wasn't there. And I'm sort of like, I would never be able to replace him. I can't put myself in his shoes or anything else. But I'm sort of the guy that every once in a while, if they get off track, I come in and go, no, this is how you do it. And then you realize it's magic. There are no rules and stuff like that. So it's just a fun thing for them to throw me in every once in a while and me get to go, look, I know exactly how this is done. And then you realize there are no rules whatsoever. We always live about 16 feet off the ground on that show. And so it's a fun show to go be a part of.
Well, I can't wait to see you come back for it and to see how it ties everything together from the original. And then very quickly, Gina, coming back to you, do you ever have thoughts on Sophie's real name, or have you sort of let it just be that it's going to be an ever-ending mystery for her?
I know what it is.
We know what it is. I know what it is.
There's been a couple of there was one episode where I typed it into a key code and some people have guessed what it was. And then,
well, don't give it a don't.
Well, and then there was another time where I wrote it in a note and gave it.
That was fake.
That wasn't fake. No, I've there were 2 Easter eggs in there, and some people have got it. And
she wrote it once on a piece of paper for Tim. That was his, or for Nate. That was his Christmas present, and that was real.
Well, I'm going to have to go back and could put my eagle eye on it, see if I could figure it out.
We all had to dive over the bar just to like, she wadded it up and threw it away. And we all like,
I typed it into a key code once, and a couple of people have
don't tell people that.
You gotta leave a little mystery for us to go solving, but that makes it more fun for me to go back and revisit. So, but in the meantime, though, I can't wait to get the word out about season 3, and like we've said, hopefully get you more, because this show just continues to be such a blast. So thank you both so much for taking the time. I really do appreciate it.
Stop with the handshake, man. Then go.